we're born, where the fetus, there's a lot of hormonal change, right? Actually, cortisol, all of the androgens, cortisol, they are secreted in huge amount, because it's not just a stress response, it's also growth, brain function. All these things are linked to the developing fetus. There is a surge in hormones until, birth, and then they go down until adolescence. Think of all the growth that's happening in a fetus when it's developing and comes to term. So during adolescence, I like to use this just like I call menopause a birth. Adolescence, puberty is a birth, because you're changing from you're changing from a child to being a fertile being. And in order to do that successfully, it's quite important to your physiology to be able to be a good fertile being, to be a fertile being that has healthy offspring. The balance is crucial, and there will always be, if something is missing, there will be a negative feedback response to try to bring it back to balance. It's interesting that we talked about, we're going to talk about precocious puberty, but puberty in humans evolved to be, in females, 17, 18. So we weren't supposed to be fertile beings at 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
Menstruation indicates this person is now fertile, so they can get pregnant. Did we evolve to get pregnant that young? No, we did not. Our brain, it's neuroplastic until basically the age of 28. So it doesn't really have to do with puberty in that sense, because we know in I make a distinction between puberty and adolescence, because adolescence is associated, and now more even older, with puberty is associated with menstruation, formation of sexual characteristics, and then adolescence is associated with something different. I would say talking back to your parents, wanting to, drive a car. It's different. It's not the formation of sexual characteristics. So the brain actually continues to develop to grow until the age 28. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of hormones, a lot of hormonal changes happening, a lot of signaling going on. And all of that actually is triggered by thyroid hormone, which is basically the ringleader. We've heard this a million times. Thyroid is the conductor of the orchestra. And it definitely is. So thyroid hormone basically triggers this change to make a child into a fertile entity that can then have offspring. These hormones that they're taking, the synthetic hormones that they're taking, aren't really recognized by the body as such. Okay. So what your receptors are looking for, the hormone cascade, the steroid hormone cascade starts as cholesterol, right? And then it turns into, in both the ovaries and the adrenals, and it turns into all these different hormones. So on the left side of the cascade of the chart, there's the stress response, right? And on the right side, there's all the way at the end, there's testosterone and then estradiol. So in order for it to get all the way over there, things have to be quite balanced. What synthetic hormones actually do is they're not replacing the testosterone, the estrogen. They are raising cortisol levels, and that absolutely has an effect on the brain.
Okay. And then in terms of a hormone medication, birth control, is that a hormone?
Yes, but they raise cortisol levels.
Right.
They actually raise cortisol levels, and that's how they are a wrench in the works in the HPA axis and the HPT axis. They're this wrench dropped into this delicate net of all these things connected together to each other, and it throws everything off. It causes a stress response in the system. So you could say, we know that cortisol can affect amygdala formation, cortex formation. All these things are affected by cortisol. So that's really what those hormones do. And the reason why so many women say this made me feel better when they took the hormones, they raised their cortisol levels.
Okay.
And when so you're giving a child, an 8-year-old, because she has ADHD, which is actually what is happening, the contraceptive pill.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I know they gave it for hormonal acne. I didn't know that they gave it for
because they don't want to give the girls amphetamines because since they're girls, and of course girls need hormones, even though they're 8, 9, and 10,
Right.
and that supposedly the hormones will modulate cognitive function. That's what they tell menopausal women, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose your brain
Right.
if you don't take synthetic, HRT. They do the same. They say the same thing to the 8-year-old. So they have kind of swerved from amphetamines for ADHD to birth control pills.